Jim Harbaugh's going to be at the game on Sunday. Kind of a big game. Niners are underdogs, and Jim Harbaugh and his 2012 team is going to be there. I'm surprised considering all the bad blood that there used to be between him and Jed York. This feels like an olive branch. It's been 10 years, and I think it's very interesting, especially the timing, although I don't think it's something the Niners planned. But what do you make of this reunion? And is Jed York flirting with Jim Harbaugh?
I don't know necessarily if he's flirting with Harbaugh, but it definitely seems like he's really open to mending those fences. I think when he looks back at that time, things change. You get older, you mature, you reflect on things. And I've got to imagine after Balky left, that in doing some reflection, he realized, I let go of the wrong guy. I just got rid of the wrong guy here. I should have kept Harbaugh. There was no reason for it. We had these down years that absolutely could have been avoided. And, now they've got a group of guys in Lynch and Shanahan that they believe in and have done a good job. But Harbaugh was doing some really amazing things. And so I think for him, this is his way of kind of righting that wrong and extending that olive branch. I don't think he's flirting. Although it is weird timing, I'll say that. It is definitely weird timing at the very least.
I mean, I can't help but think that Jim Harbaugh is going to get just a standing ovation. I can't imagine. It's going to be the loudest cheer we've heard in a very long time. He's going to be the king of Levi Stadium. Meanwhile, Kyle could get booed if they lose. I'm not saying they're going to lose. They could definitely win this game. But if they lose, Kyle could get booed at home while Jim Harbaugh is getting cheered. I put out a poll today. Saying, who would you rather have coach the 49ers, Shanahan and Ryans or Harbaugh and Fangio? Who's available? It was close, but most people said Harbaugh and Fangio. And look, if the Niners don't win the Super Bowl, if this season comes up short, and Jed York is feeling like he wants to replace Kyle Shanahan, that's tough. Because you can't go back to Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula. That's true. And maybe people would feel a little uncomfortable bringing someone unproven. But if he were to bring back Jim Harbaugh and Vic Fangio, fans wouldn't be mad. Media wouldn't criticize him. In fact, he'd be a hero. I could see it from his perspective. Could you see it from Harbaugh's? I mean, it would be kind of interesting. Let me make the case real quick. They ran him off, but for them to come back to him 10 years later and be like, we were wrong. We need you. I mean, couldn't he be like, okay, if you put it like that and you give me $15 million a year, let's talk? I don't know.
I won't say never, but I think the likelihood of that is so small. Harbaugh says it's all good, but Harbaugh's also the type that would be, you know what, I'm going to wait for that position in Arizona to open up with that young quarterback that I know is already legit. And I'm gonna go rip your heart out twice a year just to show you that you really screwed it up. And I want you to do it with the coach that you have now. He's that type of guy, I feel like.
Do you think Harbaugh could win a Super Bowl with this roster?
Ooh. I don't know, because I don't know if this roster, this current
He's never won.
Right, and that's just it. I also don't know if this roster is tailor-made for him either. That defense, the one thing about that defense, Grant, is it was extremely tough. Now, this defense is good. It's athletic. But that defense had some hitters on it. And I felt like that team, that swagger that team had really fit his personality. Mm-hmm. I don't think this team fits his personality. I think this team fits Kyle's personality. And I think those are psychological things that are overlooked a little bit. And to your point, it's not like Harbaugh won a Super Bowl. It's not like Harbaugh left here winning multiple rings.
Hasn't won in Michigan. Hasn't won a national title.
Right.
Frankly,
he always does.
I would say I wouldn't want Harbaugh back. He might be a better coach than Kyle, but if the Niners are going to move on from Shanahan, the guy I'm interested in, and it's early. The guy's only been like an offensive coordinator for 6 weeks, but the guy I'm most interested in is Ken Dorsey. I mean, he has developed. Everyone wants Trey Lance to be the next Josh Allen. Well, Ken Dorsey developed Josh Allen, and he developed Cam Newton into an MVP player. Cam Newton was good before Ken Dorsey got there, but Ken Dorsey made him an MVP player. And he's now making Josh Allen an MVP player. And he took the offense that Brian Daboll made and made it better. And if Brian Daboll's a good coach, well, he's part of the Brian Daboll tree. It kind of feels like if Daboll is Mike Holmgren, Ken Dorsey could be the Andy Reid. I'm just saying. The thing about drafting, not drafting, but hiring an offensive coach, I think where the Niners may have erred with Kyle Shanahan, you're not hiring a system. Systems come and go. They're fads. They get figured out. You want a guy who can identify the right quarterback and develop him. End of story. Bill Walsh did that, and he did it before he got to the 49ers. He did it. He made Dan Fouts a better quarterback, and what Kenny Anderson, whoever it was in Cincinnati, he did it multiple times. What you want is the guy who can develop the quarterback. That's what Andy Reid does. He was around Brett Favre. He did it with Donovan McNabb. He did it with Patrick Mahomes. And you have Trey Lance. And either you trust Kyle Shanahan to develop Trey Lance, or you find someone else who can do it. That's why I'm a little hesitant of just saying hand the team over to D'Amico.
I have another name to throw out that a lot of people aren't thinking about. My boy Marco actually put me onto this, and I love the idea because I think his timeline might fit better with the 49ers, assuming that they move on from Kyle. In my opinion, they're not moving on from Kyle this year. They're just not. If they do it, they're going to do it after next year. This person, it was also a former quarterback. He actually was the offensive quality control coach for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2017 when they drafted Mahomes. Then was his quarterback coach in 2018 and 19 and 20 and 21, and now is the offensive coordinator for the Giants. That's Mike Kafka.
He's a good name too. That's it. Yeah, there's so many options, which is why I feel like Kyle Shanahan better get his stuff together.
There are options.
Kalba says, let's be honest, what we loved about both Harbaugh and Shanny is that they have great defenses. That is true. That's 100% true.
The difference, though, is that Harbaugh was a CEO. He wasn't a play caller. He was the CEO of the team. So, although Harbaugh was a quarterback, his offense wasn't the most explosive or what have you. It did put up points, but wasn't the most explosive at times. Shanahan is an offensive guru. That's why he was hired, and he does call the plays for the offense. So it's a little bit different, in my opinion.